Before the first week pa lang, binigyan na kami ng case list for the whole semester. I think there were about 300 to 400 cases na nakalagay dun sa case list na yon.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So, pero for the whole sem naman yun. I already knew that law school was going to be tiring. Alam mo yun, maubusan ka ng oras to do so much stuff.
And that's
But,
true.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Pero, I guess, yun nga, with COVID kasi, it's a different thing eh. Parang, di ba, yung normal na online classes pa lang in undergrad, sobrang nakakapagod na siya eh. I read through the screen. So, sobrang draining niya
Yeah.
physically, like sa mata, halos 8 to 10 hours ka nagbabasa just sa screen lang, ganun. I expected it to be overwhelming, pero parang it was more overwhelming than overwhelming. As in, parang in-expect mo na siya na mahirap, pero when you got into it mismo, parang mas mahirap pa pala siya.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Meaning of Life podcast. With me here today is Cisco Trinidad. So Cisco, can you tell us something about who you are and what you do, man?
So, I'm a graduate of AB Political Science in DLSU. I graduated last 2019. And then now I'm taking up law first year in Ateneo Law School. So, kakatapos lang ng first sem namin.
Ay, man, can you tell me something about yung journey mo to law school? Kasi I feel like law school or being in law, studying law is a big topic for like a lot of Filipinos because being a lawyer and attorney ganon, sobrang kaakit-akit siya for a lot of people, I would believe. Can you tell us about how you got there? Like, how did it start? Like, how did you wanting to be a lawyer start?
Siguro, I think for a lot of aspiring lawyers, madami ang nagsa-start because of family. Pero for my case kasi, it's not because of family pressure, but it's more of parang my family got me, parang it stirred up my interest into it. Not necessarily na they push me na parang, uy, since madami kaming lawyer, dapat maging lawyer ka din. Walang ganun. It's more of parang, since madami kaming lawyers, parang, do you want to try it? And parang, do you want to consider it? Ganun yung naging appeal sa akin. So, when I started kasi, hindi kasi ako palabasa. So, I don't really read books or what. So, medyo iffy pa ako on that part na parang sinasabi nila na when you get into law school, magbabasa ka ng more than 5 books, ganun. Eh parang ako, I don't even read novels. So parang kakayanin ko ba? And then, but on the other side, sabi ko, pero mahina ako sa math. So like, anong career ang hindi masyado nagma-math? So ganun yung ko. So parang early on, that parang sobrang babaw pa lang ng reasons eh. But then, pagdating ng high school, parang 'di ba that's when parang most of us gets that parang political awakening, parang gano'n. Parang
Yeah.
you get to be more aware of what's happening in society. So I guess parang through time, parang from first year high school hanggang mag-graduate, parang you see what's happening around and then you become aware na parang there's something wrong. Being part of the justice system is something that it doesn't immediately affect society on the instant. Pero kasi kung mag-isa ka lang, it doesn't, that parang isipin naman tao, it doesn't make a difference. Pero yun yung sinasabi nila, diba, pag, it's the same thing as voting eh. Parang one vote, sasabihin nila one vote doesn't matter. But that's, parang it's the same thing with law. Parang iisipin ng mga tao na, kahit naman maging corrupt ko na lawyer, hindi naman mapapansin yun. So parang, naisip ko, parang I want to change that mindset now. Parang, especially because of our generation, I feel like our generation has so much to offer. And parang I've compared, parang through experience, na-realize ko na when I'm comparing our generation with our parents, yung mga ancestors natin, parang there's something with our generation that can actually make a change. And that's what actually started me. That's what got me into pursuing law.
Yeah. Sabi mo nung like high school, like yung political awakening ganon and like being more aware of our society and yung situation, political situations we have now. Was there like a moment or like may isang scenario na nangyari na parang napaganon ka? Was it like a snap moment or gradual siya na parang, okay, I want to be a lawyer?
I think it's gradual. Parang Kasi I think the first elections na parang that happened na medyo may isip na is grade 5 ata tayo nun eh. And then nung grade 5
Mm.
parang I was just hearing about things na ito dapat nanalo, ganun ganon. And then I realized na yung gusto ng family ko to win during that time, when I look, parang nagkaroon ako ng late realization ng high school na parang, why don't I look up on this person? And then when I looked into his parang credentials, ganun, sabi ko, dapat ito yung nanalo. And then parang na-realize ko, parang there's something you need parang to educate more people. Merong kailangan ng push.
This was 2010?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2010. Diba, yun yung
Okay.
last elections na
Yeah.
parang we already had, parang meron na tayong awareness nun, diba?
Mm.
So, yeah, parang gradual siya. And then, di ba, yun nga, nagkakaroon ng iba't ibang mga political issues and ganun. So, kasi 2010, and then another elections, 2013, so 16, plus 19. And then,
Yeah.
in that span, actually, in that 10-year span from 2010 to 2020, sobrang dami nangyari sa Pilipinas. So, parang, so gradual siya. Pero yun nga, it all started with just sobrang mababaw na reason. So, parang, for me, it's not, I think it's an advice na you don't have to be pressured na dapat by the instant alam mo na you want to be a lawyer. It can wait. Kahit sabihin mo mababaw na reason. Ako nga sabi ko, ayoko lang ng math eh. So, yun yung parang one of my mababaw na reason. Ayoko ng math. Gusto ko mag-law. So, yun. Parang ganun.
Wait, I can relate a bit because yun yung parating sinasabi actually ng mga psych students kapag pumapasok sila ng psych. Kasi pumasok sila ng psych kasi walang math sa psych. Pero I just wanna debunk that just a bit kasi no, there is math in psych. There is like statistics and data analysis. So may math pa rin doon. Which I
Same yan,
imagine,
same yan sa political science.
yeah.
Sabi rin nila wala ding math. Tapos biglang meron kaming quantitative studies. Ganun. Parang, oh no, may math.
So actually, can you tell me about your journey through college, undergraduate studies mo sa PhiLSAT? Like, how was it, and what did you take away from like your studies in political science?
Actually, di ba yung thing is, marami nagsasabi na your pre-law parang would help you, would parang, it's an advantage daw when you're going
Yeah.
to pursue law. So parang dapat careful ka daw sa pagpili ng pre-law, ganun. But I guess it's not really an advantage kasi it's a whole different thing eh. I mean, I have mga blockmates na they studied legal management. And
Mm.
siguro, yung pinaka-advantage nila is that they understood terms na parang for other people, it was new. Kasi they were studying legal things na eh. So, syempre, when they encountered it again, parang in a different, in law school na mismo, pero at least yung context, may background na sila. Pero for my case, political science, yung political science kasi ng Lasal, I think it's different from other universities.
What do you mean?
Yung political science kasi ng Lasal, it's more inclined on political theories and then thinking about political patterns. So it leans more towards political scientists talaga, more than as a pre-law. Kasi we didn't, honestly, we didn't take any like law subject in political science. So di ba yung ina-assume ng mga tao is that pag nag-political science ka, parang may advantage ka na agad because you take law subjects. Pero which is not the case in political science in Lasal. So, pagdating ko ng, pasok ko ng law school, wala akong lessons, like concrete lessons na na-take ko from my undergrad to law school mismo. Pero I guess what the main takeaway though is that parang yung political science background ko, it gave me more awareness. Parang it gave me an open mind, parang to see things from a bigger perspective. And that's what you need kasi in law eh. Parang you can't look at things pag nasa law school ka na from just one side. You have to look at all sides. So I guess that's what my undergrad taught me, and which I took to law school.
Yeah. Actually, medyo simple question for you. What can you take for pre-law? Is it any course or
Yeah, it's
is there?
actually any course. is actually good. Basta ma-follow mo lang kasi meron silang certain units na required. So like, I have kasi some mga blockmates right now na kulang pa sila sa units. So you can still
Mhm.
go into law school pero you have to take yung mga kulang mo na units. So parang merong required na units for English, for math, for social science. So pero generally naman, you can take any pre-law. So yung iba nga, galing nursing, iba galing engineering. So,
Oh,
pwede naman
wow.
talaga. Parang it's just, madami lang nag-iisip na yung pre-law dapat close to law. Not necessarily. Kasi when you get into law school, it's just parang level ground na lahat kayo you're back to zero.
It truly is level ground. Like you're all starting from like on a time standpoint, you all start at the same and you all end with the same units din naman regardless of what pre-law you take, no? With regards to that, how was getting into law school actually? Like taking the exam for your entrance test for your admission test for law students. Like how was the experience for you? What did you do to prepare?
Okay, may dalawa kasi for my experience, may dalawa. So, there was yung PhiLSAT, which is basically parang yun yung law school admission test, parang general siya for all universities.
Mm-hmm.
Pero kasi ngayon, not all universities require the PhiLSAT. So, meron lang mga ibang universities na parang they require this grade dun sa PhiLSAT. Yung iba, tinanggal na nila yung requirement na yun. So, there's that, yung PhiLSAT, and then there's the mismong entrance exam ng mismong law school. So, basically, I took 2 exams.
In your
So,
case, Ateneo.
yeah, in my case, sa Ateneo Law. So, yung sa PhiLSAT, actually for PhiLSAT, I was contemplating nung una na mag-review class ako. Pero, medyo, nung kinalculate ko yung cost niya, parang hindi siya worth it. So, ang ginawa ko,
Mm-hmm.
since it's also gonna be a building block kasi for yourself na you study on your own. So, ang ginawa ko, I just bought a reviewer sa National Bookstore. Parang merong PhilSat reviewer doon. And then you just study it religiously. So, ganun lang yung ginawa ko. I think mga 2 months or 3 months ko rin siyang inaral. Yung book lang na yun. And then whatever na mahanap ko sa internet, mga ganun, yun lang yung ginamit kong mga reviewers. So I didn't spend on review classes, ganun. Walang ganun.
Ano yung coverage nun? Ano yung coverage ng PhilSat?
Ano ba yung coverage? Ang naalala kong coverage nun was reading comprehension, vocabulary, basta walang math. Yun yung sure ako. Kasi Kasi
Okay.
sure ako, kasi nung nakita kong wala siyang, nung nalaman kong wala siyang math, sobrang saya ko nun eh. So, ang alam ko, yung reading comprehension, vocabulary, and then, yung patterns, ganun. I forgot what it's called.
Um,
Basta,
yeah, para abstract reasoning, parang
yun, yeah,
ganun.
parang ganun, yeah, parang ganun. So, and then, uh, ano pa ba?
So
Ay, hindi,
nothing too
wait
law,
lang,
nothing too law or ano?
wait lang. Ay, hindi, yung PhilSat pala, may math ba? Actually, hindi ko na maalala. Wala palang math na sure ako. Wait lang, don't take my word for it. Basta yung sure ako na walang math, yung Ateneo Law exam pala.
Okay.
Ano yun? Ano yung sabi mo?
Nothing too technical about law.
Wala, actually, hindi siya, wala siyang about law na you have to study law books na. It's not like that. It's more on how you understand what you're reading. Yun yung tinetest nila eh. I think
Okay.
it goes for all exams na lalo na yung I think yung reading comprehension yung pinaka-vital doon. Kasi they'll be giving you like a one whole page of just a story or something. Tapos, meron lang silang bibigay na 5 questions. And then you have parang time pressured pa siya. So, I think it's more on how you understand and how you read fast enough and understand and comprehend quickly kung ano yung binabasa mo.
So it's
More
something like
than
an
reloading.
IQ test, parang IQ test siya.
Yeah, more on ganun. Kasi, hindi naman magtatanong ng, well, from my experience kasi, walang mga tinanong about law mismo.
Mm-hmm.
Pero, yung mga current events naman, they didn't use current events based on parang, ano yung alam mo sa current events. They only use the current events as examples para sa mga reading
Okay.
comprehension questions. So, pero I think for other schools, they have questions na about current events directly. Pero in the case of the PhilSat and Ateneo Law, walang ganong questions.
was taking the test itself for you, was it difficult? What were the difficulties that you faced?
Siguro yung anxiety of
Yeah.
preparing for it. Anxiety preparing for it and after it. Kasi parang when you're taking the exam naman, hindi mo naman maiisip na ang hirap nito, ganun ganun. When you're taking the exam, you just go with the flow eh.
Mm-hmm.
Pero yung after it, the yung parang mga idle moments mo na parang yung itong question na 'to parang mali yung sinagot ko. I think yun yung pinaka, parang yun yung pinaka nagbu-burden sa'yo, eh. But I guess, wala, eh, when you've taken the exam, parang wala ka na rin naman magagawa after it, eh. You just, basta alam mo na you studied for it, you did your best. I think that's enough na. Parang you don't have to dwell on what's gonna happen. And madami namang ways for you to get into the school you want. Parang you can still appeal, mga gano'n, if you really want to go to that school. Kasi merong interview process, eh. Like I have
Mm-hmm.
friends na hindi sila pumasa ng exam, pero they went for appeal, so they had interview, and then na-accept pa rin sila. So parang if you fail the exam or what, you can still parang it doesn't end there. So you can still pursue law by doing other means, you know.
Yeah, I remember the last big test na I really took na may ganong vibes din. It was like OPCAT, yung mga college admission tests natin. And sobrang, I can attest to that, sobrang nakakangarag nga siya before and after. Pero pag after, less so na kasi pag after parang, okay, at least tapos na. Pero pag before, yun talaga yung parang, am I gonna do well? And I can only imagine, like, for you guys, lalo na, you guys have another big test after law school itself. What's the name of that test again?
Bar exams, yeah.
But the what's the name of that bar exam? So, and it takes like usually like a whole year to prepare, no, for bar exams.
Yeah, mga 6 months, 6 months to a year. Kasi
6
it's
months
parang
to.
one whole month, lahat ng Sundays of that month, you have two exams each Sunday. So one sa umaga and then one sa hapon.
Really? What is 2 exams? One whole month siya?
Yeah, one whole month. Every Sunday.
Every Sunday 2 exams. Holy crap. I didn't know that. That's intense. Tapos iba't ibang topics, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, iba-ibang topics yun. So, hindi ako sure kung ano yung schedule nun. Basta, usually, ang pinakamahirap daw dyan is yung remedial law eh. So, yun yung maraming talagang bumabagsak. Remedial tsaka taxation. Yun daw yung sabi sa kanila. Yun yung sabi sa amin.
Yeah.
So, mabigat talaga siya.
Yeah. So since you got in Ateneo Law School, your dream school, what would you say are like the top tips that you have for people who want to go there also or want to go to law school in general? Like, what should they do beforehand? How should they prepare? And like, what should you aim for, siguro, as a prospective law student?
Siguro the first thing is that to build on your study habits. As in, ako kasi ever since high school, wala talaga akong study habits. As
Mhm.
in, I just study kapag feel ko, kapag parang alam kong kailangan ko mag-aral for it. Pero wala talaga akong like set na time to study. And it's always parang, importante ba to? Okay, kailangan ko aralin. Pero after that, tapos na. Parang parang I don't overstudy, if you can call it that. Parang kung ano
Mhm.
lang yung for that time, yun lang aaralin ko. Pero kasi when you get to law school, parang studying is everything you'll be doing. Parang it's gonna be the foundation of, kasi yun nga, for bar exams, as in, magiging foundation mo yung pag-aaral eh. So, it's, yun yung pinaka tip number one is that to have good study habits. Kasi it's gonna be your discipline, and then throughout, even after you pass the bar, continuous yung pag-aaral mo eh. Parang kasi the law will constantly change.
Yeah.
Laging may bagong batas na napapasa and all. So, it's gonna be, you won't use it just for law school. But even after law school, you'll be using yung study habits na yun. And siguro tip number two, I guess, goes with study habits is time management. Especially for people na madalas gusto na nila kasama friends nila who socialize, and then yung iba gusto may time pa for gym and for sports. So, bilib ako sa mga taong actually na nagagawa nila yun while in law school. It's actually possible naman. Basta you have good time management. Well, ako kasi mahina pa ako in that sense. I'm still working on
Mm.
that time management skill. Pero having good time management is also a great foundation for law school. And then siguro third is I guess character. Sinasabi nila for law school, parang basa ka ng basa, you have to memorize this, memorize that. But I guess intellect can only do so much, and it's character that will get you through law school kasi. Parang what my dad always tells me is that you can have all the intellect in the world, you can memorize all the codal provisions, all the laws, pero if wala kang character, you won't get through law school. And when I say character, it's being able to rise up from failures. Kasi for one thing's for sure, pag nasa law school ka, you'll experience some kind of failure. Whether
Mm.
sa grades mo or sa recitation mo, whatever, you'll experience failure. And it's not for someone na if you're in law school, hindi ka ibe-baby ng mga professors, ng mga blockmates mo. Parang
Yeah.
you only have yourself talaga eh. So you have yourself to rise up from those failures, from those hardships, and I guess yun nga, character will bring you through the end of law school.
Yeah. I recognize also na your experience in law school is very unique. Kasi first time ever, di ba? I would imagine na online because of COVID. You know, COVID's a bitch for doing this to all of us. And I swear nakakainis na siya. I mean, dati pa naman nakakainis, pero like goodness. You know what I mean. Anyway, but apart from that, ano yung mga expectations mo coming into law school? Like, of course, you had your expectations, diba? What you expect law school to be, what you expect Ateneo to be. And ano pala siya? Was it far off from your was the experience far off from your expectations o hindi naman? And what was the difference?
Your expectations, I already knew that law school was going to be tiring and like, alam mo yun, maubusan ka ng oras to do so much stuff.
And that's
But,
true.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Pero, I guess, yun nga, with COVID kasi, it's a different thing eh. Parang, when you're doing online, di ba, yung normal na online classes pa lang in undergrad, sobrang nakakapagod na siya eh. Pero, sa law school kasi, parang you have well, for me kasi I don't really print my readings eh. So I read through the screen. So sobrang draining niya
Yeah.
physically, like sa mata kasi nagbabasa parang halos 8 to 10 hours ka nagbabasa just sa screen lang, ganun. Pero yun nga, expectation, I guess I expected it to be overwhelming, pero parang it was more overwhelming than overwhelming. As in, parang in-expect mo na siya na mahirap, pero when you got into it mismo, parang mas mahirap pa pala siya. So parang, yun lang, you have to be cautious na when you get into it, you'll be overwhelmed, but it's normal. I guess, lalo na nung sa amin kasi, nung nag-midterms kami, diba, it was our first exam, and like, parang lahat kami, ba't ang bobo ko, parang wala akong masagot, ganun. Parang, pero like yung mga upper class naman, they were saying na it's okay. Yung ibang profs, they were saying na it's okay, it's just your first exam. It's normal to feel like that. And then if you fail, it's okay, you can do better in your next exam. So parang ganun. You have to expect talaga na you'll fail at some point, but it's okay to get back up. Parang ganun. Yun yung expect. Yung sa workload naman kasi, I guess everyone expects naman na mabigat talaga ang workload sa law school. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I think wala namang maling expectation doon. Pero I guess yung isang expectation na mali is yung sa profs na lahat daw nakakatakot. I guess that's one thing. Kasi, well, in our case, intimidating ang profs. I mean, I think all lawyers have that kind of aura na they're intimidating. But I guess I wouldn't say na nakakatakot sila in a way na they'll, alam mo yun, parang it's you shouldn't see it in a way na they're putting you down. It's more of they're trying to make you reach your potential by being that intimidating. Kasi ako I can recite, like in undergrad classes, I can recite easily.
Yeah.
Kayang-kaya yun. Pero when I got to law school, parang ayoko na lang magsalita. Ganun yung nangyari. Sobrang bumaliktad siya.
Mm.
Parang, okay, tawagin mo lahat, wag lang ako. Parang ganun nasa isip ng mga tao.
Why? Why? Was it because you were afraid of making a bad like statement or maling recitation ganon?
Yeah, actually, yun, nakakatakot kasi na parang, kasi, di ba, meron kasing tinatawag sa law school na Socratic method. So, parang, they
Mm.
keep asking you questions na parang, why? Parang, are you sure? What's your basis? So, parang, it doesn't end with a yes or no question eh. It doesn't end na question, answer. Walang ganun. So, syempre, you'll be cautious with how you're answering questions and then syempre natatakot ka din na i-judge ka ng mga blockmates mo, i-judge ka ng prof mo na ay ano ba to, di nagbasa, ano ba to, bobo to, di nasagot. Parang ganun. Ganun yung iniisip mo. Ganun yung
Mm.
mentality. But I I tried, parang nangyari sa akin is that I had that mentality na ibahin ko, na instead of na ipapahiya ako or what, they're making me, parang, yun nga, they're teaching you to learn from your mistakes and to reach your potential by showing you na, ay, ito yung mali mo, ganun. So, yun yung maganda about it.
Just to have a brief glimpse lang. Nung first week mo, ilang readings yung nabagsak sa inyo?
Binagyan kasi kami nung first week before the first week pa lang, binagyan na kami ng case list for the whole semester. And then, I think there were about 300 to 400 cases na nakalagay dun sa case list na yon.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So, pero for the whole sem naman yun. And then, nung sinabi sa amin na we have to read like parang 3 articles nun. So, Article 1, Article 2, and then we'll go straight to Article 6. So, yun yung sinabi sa amin. And then, parang yung prof pa na yun, parang he had a reputation na nakakatakot daw. So, syempre, lahat kami, hala, hanggang saan yung babasahin natin, ganyan. We kept asking mga undergrad. Kasi, parang when you're in law school kasi, you have your caudal, which contains all the laws. And then you have your commentary, which has the explanation for the laws. And then you have your cases. So,
Yeah.
parang for mga major subjects mo, you're reading 3 things. So, yung caudal, yung commentary, and the cases. For this, ito, yung consti namin, ang haba ng commentary, tas yung caudals, kailangan daw i-memorize. And then may cases pa. So, sabi namin,
Okay.
paano namin gagawin to? For Article 1, there are like more than, like, no, hindi man, siguro mga 5 cases. Tapos yung isa doon, merong umabot ng 300 pages. So, sabi namin, paano namin gagawin to? So, yun nga, sabi ko kanina, it's overwhelming talaga.
So, paano nyo nga nagawa yun?
Yun pala, nung nag-meet na kami, we only tackled Article 1, and then gradual lang pala siya. So, lahat kami nag-panic
Okay.
pala nun. Pero yun pala, gradual lang naman siya. Although, pero nung reset nun, syempre, lahat kami first time. So, lahat kami nangangatog nun, nung recitation, and then everyone's like, tama ba yung sinasabi ko, ganyan, sana wag
Yeah.
niyo ako i-judge, ganun. So, yun yung naging first few weeks. And I guess you get used to it din eh. Kasi after, yun nga, yung span from the first week until midterms, you'll be overwhelmed talaga. As in, you have to expect na may time na sabihin mo, ayaw mo na. Pero isipin mo rin na, parang hanggang you haven't reached even one full sem, and you can't say na hindi mo kaya. Kasi hindi mo pa nabuo yung buong sem eh. So hintayin mo na matapos mo hanggang finals and then you decide. So that's what I did.
Grabe yun. It is, to me, like an outsider looking in, it's like, getting into law school, yes, di ba, syempre, syempre, congratulations, good job, good job. Pero, it's like plunging yourself headfirst into the ocean. Like, walang, life vest. Like, ikaw na bahala, ito yung mga readings, ito yung mga kailangan. 300 to 400 cases in one sem. I mean, one sem naman. You said it's one sem naman. But still, that's still a lot for an entire sem. And the sem is like 5 months? 5 months ba?
Yeah, 5 to 6 months, yeah.
5 to 6 months. 5 to 6 months. Grabe. Um you mentioned something about yung professors nyo, and not all of those are scary. naman. But with the professors who are scary, I wanted to ask, like, what makes them scary or what makes them a terror professor?
I guess it's siguro I think what makes them scary is yung parang wala silang reaction. Na
Mm.
parang when you answer, di mo alam kung tama ba yung sinagot mo or if bobo ba yung sinagot mo. As in, they won't laugh if you're
Yeah.
wrong, and then they won't say na ang galing mo if you're correct. Parang ganun. Yung mga sobrang no reaction profs, yun yung nakakatakot kasi you don't know how you're being graded. You don't know kung ano ba yung tingin nila sa sinagot mo. Yun yung pinaka nakakatakot eh. Pero I guess we got our fair share naman ng profs na even if they're intimidating, hindi they're still parang if you see them sa mga socials ganun, parang they're actually really approachable. So hindi nila nabe-bring yung intimidating image outside of law school. So
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it easier for us na hindi matakot sa kanila. Nakakatakot lang naman talaga sila during recitation eh. Pero other than that, okay naman. I think they're very approachable.
Yeah. Um you also mentioned a while ago now when you do get into law school, even before getting into law school and now that you're in, you have to have a bit of, sacrifice. Like you have to sacrifice some things, like what you mentioned earlier, time management. Like you won't have as much time as you had before kasi nga all these readings, all your homeworks, assignments. um like, how do you cope with that? Siyempre, mas limited na yung pagso-socialize mo because you're in law school. And I don't think that's a secret. I think anyone who knows someone who went through law school, who wants to be a lawyer, siyempre, you see them less because they focus more on law school. How do you cope with that? And yun nga, how do you feel about you losing some connection with your friends, with your family, maybe even?
I guess the mindset that comes with it is that it's only temporary, yung sacrifice na ginagawa mo. It's
Mm-hmm.
really for something greater, for something for like a greater future. Kasi itong like ako, since yun nga, I have poor time management, so I rarely get to see my friends, ganun. As in, I rarely get to have leisure activities for myself. Pero parang even before going to law school, parang I already had my mindset na I had to sacrifice something. And I had to commit to that sacrifice. Kasi sabi nga nila, parang going into law school, it's something na it's heavily burdened with so much things. As in, 'di ba, we have even sa legal profession mismo. Like ang daming, 'di ba, madaming mga lawyers na namamatay, mga judges na namamatay.
Yeah.
It's very sobrang heavily burdened ang legal profession and even law school itself. So you have to get into when you're going to law school, you have to consider that you have to make that sacrifice. Pero you have to also remember that that sacrifice won't be for your whole that yung socialization part, that won't be for your whole life. Pero yung yung other sacrifices mo, it's more on about how you would present yourself, how you would bring up yourself. Kasi meron yung sa legal ethics na parang you have to make yourself presentable kasi as parang that's your duty to your client, that's your duty to
Mm-hmm.
the state, ganun. So you have yun nga from the start pa lang, you have to have that mindset na you're gonna sacrifice for parang that's that's fixed. You can't go into law school, you can't pursue the legal profession if hindi ka willing mag-sacrifice. Kasi you won't get anywhere if ayaw mo pa rin mag-sacrifice despite everything.
Aren't you worried about being killed, bro? As in, I read all all the news, ba? Like, maraming lawyers na or someone in the legal profession that gets killed suddenly. Hindi ka ba worried doon? Or, like, anong tingin mo doon?
Well, I mean, there's always gonna be that factor na one maybe one day pag may nakaaway ka ganun. And it's I think pero I guess it goes with the profession itself na you're actually serving a better purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not parang yun na yung it's part of your sacrifice na you're not doing this for yourself eh. As going back to how when I start yung interest ko sa law, it's about making a change eh. So that's your sacrifice in making a change in the system. So since you see a flaw in the system, it connects to that na ito yung part ng sacrifice ko for not for myself but for the system that I am in.
Mhm. And hindi ba ano, what you mentioned earlier, 'di ba, temporary. This is a temporary thing. Like law school is a temporary thing unless
Pero no
something
judge
unfortunate no judgment. Pero
yeah.
take all the time that you need. But isn't it na after law school, dun mag-uumpisa na syempre yung being a lawyer and all everything that comes with it. Won't you have even less time in the future, or
I
is
guess
that
it
not true?
depends. It depends kasi on what you decide to do after passing the bar. So if
Mm-hmm.
kung anong gusto mong maging lawyer, if what you want to venture into. But I well, based on mga sinasabi sa akin because I have relatives na lawyers, sinasabi nila na yung workload is different kasi parang it's more on when you get into the legal profession mismo, you draft mga contracts, you draft pleadings. It's
Mm-hmm.
more on writing kasi 'di ba yung nakikita natin usually sa mga series, sa mga movies is that yung mga litigation, yung nasa
Yeah.
court sila, 'di ba? Tapos
Yung mga
tapos
exciting stuff.
yeah, and then nagde-debate, nag-argue sila, ganun. Pero in the Philippines kasi wala masyadong ganun. It's more since 'di ba yung mga courtrooms nga natin sobrang lilit.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi it's more on lawyers write more on writing more than speaking. So it's the workload is definitely less kasi you don't have to like read 100 cases again. Pero it's more on going into ano ba yung legal provision and then ano ba yung naging basis. So it's ang according to my relatives, it's less workload naman. Which is also why you see naman lawyers that actually socialize with people more than law students, 'di ba?
Actually, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Um, yun yeah, and as you mentioned then a while ago, what are you eyeing for siguro in the future? Like a law, studying law is a large investment. Not only monetarily, pero time investment talaga siya. It's an additional 3 to 4 years, even more maybe, um, to finish law school. So, what are you working towards here?
Well, kasi for me, so if I ever graduate law school, that's a big if.
Of course. Ano if?
So if yun nga, I actually plan to continue studying again. So maybe I'm not sure if it's 3 years or 4 years again, pero abroad naman. So it's either
What?
I go in, yeah.
Wow,
So
okay.
it's either I go into Oxford and take law there, or I try sa US mag-take ng New York bar. Kasi yung New York bar is open to Filipinos. Basta you
Yeah.
also have to study their laws. So yun yung two options abroad. But then if not, um, I actually want to venture into being a lawyer sa government dito sa Philippines. So yun yung third option. And then yung fourth option is that I go into politics mismo because sa province ng family. So yun yung mga options ko right now. Pero nothing
Why
set in stone.
why study internationally?
What I guess well, sabi kasi ng dad ko parang wala naman silang mapapamana sa akin na malaki other than education. So like I've put my value into education so much na parang if you have the resources for it, then go for it. Parang you won't lose anything naman eh. Lalo na
Yeah.
for education. You don't lose anything when you go for education. So if since I also have relatives naman in London, so parang they can meron akong place to stay and all that. So it's gonna help me actually expand more of my knowledge about the legal profession kasi since hindi na ako limited sa Pinas. Kasi iba yung mga since tayo kasi we follow more of the US laws eh kasi
Yeah.
'di ba we were colonized. So now if I go into British law naman, parang it's a whole different game. So I'm actually really curious
Ah,
about
yeah.
how that works.
Parang broadening of perspectives, gano'n. but on an international level. Solid. Baka pagkabalik mo dito after you study in Oxford, may accent ka na and everything, man. Or
Magiging British accent na ako.
so looking forward to accent Cisco actually. Ayun. With that being said, actually, and to like um go into like the crux of the podcast, I wanted to ask you, with everything that you do now, like law and studying and like working towards that goal of yours, yung four different options mo and everything. What is the meaning of life for you, man?
I guess the meaning of life is, as I said, yun nga, yung kanina sinabi ko, yung third factor that you have to take in is that character, o parang character over intellect. I think that gets you not only into law school nga eh. I think that actually gets you into life. Kasi not everyone's blessed with like the intellect to memorize these things, to know these things. Not everyone reads, not everyone has the resources to, alam mo yun, to gain all those knowledge.
Mm.
Pero when you have character, I guess when I say character, it means when you know how to sympathize with people, how to relate with people. I guess that's that's a huge advantage for you, and that's, I guess, that oversees kung anong intellect man ang meron ng isang tao. When you have character, uh, it it helps you get parang whatever failures there are, it helps you get through it na you don't only get through it but you learn from it. Yun nga, and when you have character, hindi ka ignorant kung ano nararamdaman ng ibang tao. Kasi I guess one thing na you can't take away in this world is that to have connections with people. And every
Mm.
day you relate with people, you talk with people, you socialize. And part
Mm.
part of part of having an effective communication with all those people is having that character na that can relate to them, that can, alam mo yun, hindi ka sasabihin na elitista ka, hindi ka sasabihin na um, ano yun, pobre ka, mata pobre ka, walang ganun. It's more on, oo, naiintindihan kita kasi ganito, ganito, ganyan. So, I guess that's what gets you through life.
Mm. Yeah. And ayun nga, you mentioned you really give an importance to character. Like character is very significant in getting you through life and making you have a wonderful life.